Thank you everybody for joining us in this week's edition of Parashat Pointers, Parashat Vayehi. This week's Parashat Pointers is dedicated by Billy Beda in honor of his wife. We look into the Parasha and look for inspiration, how to raise ourselves, but how to raise our children as well, of course, the next generation. You know, the Pasuk says, Vayad Yisrael et bnei Yosef vayomer mi ele. Right? Yaakov Avinu is about to bless his grandchildren, Ephraim and Menashe, and he asks Yosef, who are these children? Now the problem is that he was there for 17 years. What do you mean, who are these children? He knows them very well. He learned with them. He was with them. He specifically learned very much with Ephraim. But of course he knew who his grandchildren were for 17 years. What's the meaning of this question? And there's many answers to this, but I wanted to focus on the answer of the Orah Hayim HaKadosh. The Orah Hayim HaKadosh says something pretty amazing. He says he was about to bless his grandchildren. So he asked Yosef, who are these children? He says, these are my sons. By just hearing those words that these are his sons, it gave him a new appreciation. And he was able to make a beracha, a blessing on the children with even more deeply, with a deeper connection of love to his grandchildren. And the reason for that is that when we want to appreciate something, when we verbalize it, it becomes much more real and it brings it into the forefront. And now we can appreciate it even more. I want to give you a little bit of examples of this. The Sefer HaChinuch talks about the mitzvah of Bikurim. Bikurim is when you have your first fruits and you bring it to the Bet HaMikdash. Now there's certain verses that you must read. Arami Oved Avi, our forefathers, you know, we were in Mitzrayim, we had a very difficult time. Yaakov Avinu, our great-great-grandfather, was in the house of Lavan. I mean, we go through our whole history. And the Sefer HaChinuch explains that the reason why we do that is because by doing that, it gives us a higher level. The words that we say and we hear gives us a greater appreciation for all that we have in our lives. The fruits, the fact that we're alive. So there's a very, very important yesod here, a very important idea. In order to create appreciation, you must verbalize it. You must say it. It's not enough to just think it. If you want to engender in your children and in your own heart feelings of appreciation to Hashem for all you have, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. I'll give you one example. We're driving in the minivan. This is just personal. Driving in the car, driving in the minivan, and it gets tight sometimes, you know. As the driver, we're pretty comfortable. But the kids are in the back, and sometimes I get this seat, that seat, the window, I'm nauseous. While you're driving the car, I do this all the time. Just the other day I did it, driving up Bay Parkway. We passed the bus stop. Children, look at all those people waiting. They have their earmuffs, their jackets, they're cold. They're waiting for the bus. They can't just go where they want to go. We got in the car, we go where we want to go. They gotta wait. And then when they wait, they don't know if they're gonna get a seat on the bus. Maybe they'll get a seat, maybe they won't. Do you know how lucky we are? And when you say those words, the children hear that. They're like, yeah, you're right. We are very lucky. Wow, we have a car. I guess I'm gonna stop complaining. Just focus on the good. When sometimes the children, and we hear this, there's nothing to eat in the house. Nothing to eat in the house. Imagine if that same child overhears the father, the mother, open the fridge. Oh my gosh, look what's in here. We have meat, we have cheese, we have milk, we have eggs. Look how many animals had to die or lay eggs for us to have all this food in here. Wow, we are so lucky. We are so fortunate. We are so rich. We have everything. They're not going to come to say we don't have anything. This is how you create appreciation in a child. A few years ago, I was invited by a friend of mine. He said, look, could you do me a favor? Could you please come to my house? I'm having a guest. He's a Hasidic Rebbe. And I want there to be some people to visit. I'm embarrassed. You know, he's staying by me. I want people to be there. It was Friday night after the meal. He says, eat your meal at home and then come. So I get to his house, and there's a Rebbe sitting there. And he's praying and he's saying things in his peot, beautiful, gorgeous shtreimel. And he had a few Hasidim with him, but he was on the road, so I was really one of the only people there. And all of a sudden they bring a beautiful whole piece of fish to this Rebbe. It was a carp fish. And they bring him this fish, and he goes and he looks at the fish. He takes out the eyeball of the fish, and he already made kiddush, he already washed. He eats the eyeball. And I'm getting woozy looking at this because, whew, eyeball. And I said, it's me and the Rebbe. Let me ask him. I said, let me ask you a question, Rabbi. Why in the world did you just eat the eyeball of a fish? I just don't understand it. So let me explain. Basically, the way it works is like this. The human eye, we all have eyeballs, right? Hashem is my eye. There's all different things. You have white, you have, in this case, I have a greenish blue, and then you have a black pupil, right? What's the center of the eye? The black, the negative. Human nature is you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, oh, my back hurts. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I have this bill to pay. Oh, you got to deal with all these things. What? You look at the eye of a fish, it's all white. Because a fish only focuses on the good. They don't even have ayin hara, they're hidden. We know that fish, that's what fish represent. So we want to be like the fish. We want to be the type of people that only focus on the good. We want to be the type of people that are always looking at what they have, not what they don't have. We focus on the white, not on the black, not on that little black people. It's very important to understand that. It's very important. We want to focus on the colors and the beauty. This is the lesson we can give our children. You don't have to give your children things for them to be happy. You just have to give them the tools to appreciate what they have, and they'll have everything. My berachat to everybody is that our children should be those that appreciate. If they see that we appreciate, they will. And everyone should have a Shabbat Shalom.